All right. Let me make sure. I'm like, are we live in the right
And you're
place?
asking me questions for the most part, right?
Yes.
Cool.
I mean, we're live,
Yeah.
allegedly, right now. I'm just making sure that we're live in the right places. If you're seeing us right now, hello and
Hi.
welcome in. Just making sure that we're somewhere where you can see us.
Oh, I can...
Okay, we're live.
Okay.
Yes.
We're here.
Sorry, guys. I don't see, like, our comment thread showing up, so I was, like, just making sure.
I see Ashley. Hi. Liz.
Okay, here we go. Welcome in, everyone. It's early in the morning, so, like, we're still getting settled here at the office, too. But June has really exciting stuff for
Yep.
Living Astrology. If you are not a part of our classes or haven't checked that out before, Living Astrology is one part of Living Magic, our full course for the year. And I think that I've been bugging Tara to give away this content for free since the moment that I found out about it, because I just think June is a really cool month. So do you want to just introduce high level what the topic is for June?
Yeah. And if anyone, I think most of you know me here, but if you don't, my name is Tara All. I'm our resident astrologer here at Sage Goddess, and I really love all things metaphysical, but especially astrology is my jam.
Yeah.
And in June, we are working with birth chart rulers. So in astrology, when we use the word ruler, we also sometimes use the word dispositor. If you're more technical, you may have heard that. Or guardian or custodian. These are different words. And so, for example, there is a planet that rules your entire birth chart. So if you can determine this by the planet that rules your rising sign. So for example, I'm Aries rising, and Mars is the planet that rules Aries, which means that Mars is my birth chart ruler or my birth chart dispositor, my birth chart guardian, my birth chart custodian, whichever word you like.
Right.
We sometimes hesitate on the word ruler because it sounds, I don't know, kind of
Like domination or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But whatever planet rules your birth chart, it's like an extra window into how you show up, right? How you come into life. It's a key into the type of person you need to be to really manifest your best self and to grow and evolve. And if you just think for a second, even if you don't know much about astrology, most of us know a little bit about Mars and Venus.
Yeah.
Right. So let's just pretend that one person's birth chart is ruled by Mars and someone else's birth chart is ruled by Venus.
Yeah.
You can probably already get a feel without knowing much about astrology how the person with a Venus ruled chart is going to come out and into life versus the Mars type person.
Yeah.
What's your rising sign is Sagittarius, right?
Sagittarius.
So for Jared,
Which I'm seeing
Jupiter.
other people in the comments too that are Sagittarius.
Yeah.
So, me and you, Rhonda.
Yeah, so if you're Sagittarius rising, Jupiter rules your birth chart. So all the kind of things that you already know about Jupiter, you can think about that as sort of being the energy. When I think about planets, I think about them as being parts of ourselves. So if you kind of are this inner committee of different parts that make up your whole self, well, Jupiter is part of that, right?
Right. It's who? So would it be then kind of the main character or
Well,
the lead within?
The one that kind of likes to oversee things, hence
Okay.
the word ruler.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
The one that kind of likes to make sure that all the things are happening. So, you can think of it in some ways that it is the planet that through which kind of your whole being or your whole birth chart expresses itself, if that makes sense. Yeah, so some of you are chiming in. Yeah, so if you've got Virgo rising, then Mercury rules your birth chart. If you've got actually Gemini or Virgo rising, those are both ruled by Mercury. So it's a really, for me, thinking about my chart ruler gives me a lot of insight into how I show up. I mentioned this before, but Mars rules my birth chart. When I am more consciously aware that I can come out with a sword, it helps me sort of pick and choose and shift into how I meet my moment, which is how I talk about the rising signs a lot, right? How you meet your moment. And so the ruling planet of your chart or of your ascendant rising sign is the same thing, gives you a feel for that character or part of yourself that tends to jump out first.
Yeah, so that you can have that awareness before
Yeah, and Jared, I
Absolutely.
can just say this is my observation about you, but we'll use it for the benefit of the group here. Jupiter ruling a chart, right? Jupiter tends to come across as wise. When you listen to Jared talk in a meeting, even if you don't have all your stuff buttoned up or put together, and I'm not saying that you generally don't, but just saying
We all have our
Jupiter
moments.
has a way of speaking with a little bit of authority and wisdom and having a broad view, right? And also having a good intuitive sense and a certain level of confidence is Jupiter. So I get the
feel
pleasure
like-
of watching you, and you do show up that way.
Yeah, I feel like I'll own that and like totally
Yeah.
accept that. While I'm like also like a very anxious person, like I don't think that people like certain things don't come off that way
Right.
to people.
Which is a perfect point. What people see and what projects out is not the whole thing.
Yeah, right.
But rising sign, the planet that rules your birth chart, those things are very visible on and through you. People see them. Right?
Yeah.
And so knowing what people see is very useful
Right.
when you want to have, good relationships and good
you want
interactions
to go
with
out
people.
in the world and interact with others
Yeah.
for sure,
Yeah.
and build relationships and such. So I'm curious. We're not gonna can't get it all here. You have to be in class. But I'm just interested. What are some of the things that we'll be talking about in class with this over the month?
Yeah, so we'll get into the ascendant or rising sign again, just because that is, the planet that rules that is the birth chart ruler. So we'll dig into the ascendant rising sign a little bit again. We will go through each of the planets as chart ruler. By the way, some of you have co-rulers, so we work with some modern planets, those being Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. And so some of the signs, Pisces is an example of them. The traditional ruler would be Jupiter, but the modern ruler is Neptune. So some people have co-rulership. So we will talk in class about each of those rulers, what it means to have that ruler or those co-rulers, how you can kind of best harness that energy, how you can see into different parts of yourself around that way. We will look at also the sign that your birth chart ruler is in and the house that it's in and how that gives you additional information. There is an astrologer. Let me see if I have my little quote here somewhere. Maybe it's not going to be easily readable to me. But it's basically wherever your chart ruler is in your birth chart, there you are. Because it represents in part, right, literally I'm generalizing, but a big piece of your self-identity that steps out. So, for example, my Mars that rules my birth chart is in Leo, and it's in my 5th house. So that shows you where meaning the chart ruler or the part of me that is leading in some ways the show, that's where it hangs out a lot.
Right.
You find me in creativity, creative projects, following my passion, because I'm doing it right now, right? I love astrology, let me tell you about it. Literally, I'm live talking about something that I love. So you will find me there often. So if you look where your birth chart ruler is in your birth chart, that's in many ways where you will spend a great deal of your time, because that's where the leader hangs out,
right?
And that's where the other, then you can think about the other parts of you. They have to navigate or come visit that part or interact with that part.
Yeah, it's all still a part of it.
Yeah, it's
There's
all
interplay
going on.
there.
But there's like a hot spot, if that makes sense. There's a hot spot where that chart ruler is.
Okay, kind of like your comfort zone, or like.
Yep.
I don't know if that's the right word.
No,
for
it's
it, but...
good. Yeah, no, I think it's a great word. It's also it's where that part of you goes back to hang out.
Yeah.
And because it has, I'm using the word elevated loosely here, because it has an elevated position in your overall energy, where it hangs out and what it does. Okay, so imagine this, let's say that we are following some movie star, right? And everybody wants to know where they're going to be tonight, right? What restaurant are they going to be at, or where are they going?
Yeah.
You can kind of think of it a little bit that way in your chart. Where is that part of you going?
Okay. Yeah. Like your spot or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. You like to be there. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's a place that I guess it's just very natural for you to come from. So of course you're going to want to be in that comfort area.
Yes.
This is I'm really excited to get into all of them throughout the month. And also, I don't know if anyone else finds stuff about the planets to be as interesting as I do. I just love when we're talking about that in general. I've learned so much, you talking about Mars. I'm now oh yeah, fiery Mars.
the other thing you can think about too is that when we're learning about any planets, forget that they're chart rulers. It's still back to the basics of learning the planets.
Yeah.
So every time we talk about Jared having Jupiter ruling, right, his birth chart,
Jupiter?
Yes, then we're also coming back to what is Jupiter?
Yeah.
What does that archetype mean? And then that everyone has Jupiter somewhere in their birth chart, so that's going to apply. This is why, and same thing when we look at what sign and what house is your birth chart ruler in. We're going back to the basics again. What is Aries again? What is Taurus again? What is Gemini again? What is the 7th house? What is the 8th house? And this, to me, is how you continue to learn and deepen your knowledge in astrology, is you keep on going through those same layers, but from different
stuff
contexts.
That you know, and just building a little bit more.
Exactly.
Right. So it's not always just like so many new and different things. It's like all building blocks to one another, which is super helpful. If you weren't with us as we were starting this, Tara and Athena are going to be teaching about birth chart rulers in June, Living Astrology, which is part of Living Magic. I see that wonderful Karen is here in the chat, making sure that you guys have the links. Thank you for being here. We love you always. So you guys can check out those links to be able to register for class. I do have a couple of payment options that I wanted to talk to you about, just because we want everyone who wants to be in class and a part of the community to have that option. So there are options such as Affirm Pay, Afterpay, and Zip that can spread your payments out across 4 payments for the month. Says you pay your first installment immediately and then every 2 weeks. This is something that we're doing to make sure that people can be in class, so we really want you to be there. Karen is honestly the absolute master of information about these classes and how to make sure you're registered properly. So feel free to reach out to support or in the Facebook groups if you need help with renewing or anything of the sort. Anything else that we want to preview before? I mean, June 7th is class, so you don't have to wait too long.
If you just want a little bit more, I guess, chart rulers in so many ways show you how you express, develop, and embody your kind of life force energy. So if you're interested in more of that, I always say if you're interested in getting more of yourself, kind of your raw potential in a conscious way, you can refine and work with it. Birth chart rulers, actually, whether you get it in this class or whether you look it up somewhere else, it can be very helpful. So in general, if you want to get a feel for that player, that part of you, and it doesn't take a whole lot of complicated technical stuff, like I was saying. If Venus rules your birth chart, you just geek out on Venus. Maybe for the next 2 months, you know?
That's something I really like about this, is it's like, it gives you that thing that you can dive into a lot deeper, but it's also very understandable. Like, I mean, my knowledge of astrology is like nowhere even close to as advanced as yours. I mean, you were just like talking at a conference the other week, and like, this is very much like your domain. And so like, but to be able to learn these more basic things that then I can come to other conversations that we have with like a little bit more insight about like the different planets, houses, is really cool. It's like these building block things, the first step things are like so valuable in the learning process. So we really hope you guys will join us for that.
There's some questions. How are chart planet rulers different from dominant planets? I think that's a bigger question that we can answer here, but the chart planet ruler really is one planet that rules the entire chart, and it's based on your ascendant or rising sign, right? And then there are different ways to determine other dominant planets, but when we're talking about birth chart ruler, we really are talking about the planet that rules your rising sign. Let's see if there's anything else in here, because we like questions. Mars and Pluto for Scorpio rising. Yep, you got it. Mars is traditional ruler of Scorpio, and Pluto is modern ruler. So that's some intensity right there. Just knowing that too. For example, I always say these things are very useful in conflict situations. You know, let's just say something kind of starts to go sideways. If you know that Mars rules my chart, you can probably guess what my approach or how I might respond to that, and then you can kind of plan accordingly.
Right.
And if I know, for example, you'd be like, Tara's probably not going to like this initially.
But like, Tara's literally going to like stab me if I like bring this up wrong. Like the sword's going to come out. Like,
yeah, but
not literally, obviously.
No.
But it is like, I mean, I would come
Mars is pointy.
Yeah, but I would come to a conversation that was like confrontational or was about like an issue or something with like, just like a different like outlook. I wouldn't just like rush in and like say something that was like very like accusatory or like blaming or
that's
something.
Right. Because I will get
Yeah, the defensive would be like right there.
Yeah, exactly. So again, just knowing this with like the people you're close to in your life can be so useful. If you have Venus rising, you're going to more expect there to be some cooperation and harmony and listening, right? So like where my tendency with Mars might be just to jump right in, kind of pointed, ready to go at it. Mm-hmm. Someone with a Venus ruled chart that approach is not going to work. That is too rough. It is too hard. It is too aggressive.
Yeah.
So you learn your way in. Yeah. Let's see what else here. Oh, Capricorn. Well, Capricorn's ruled by Saturn. Saturn would be the ruler of your birth chart. Yeah. Happy hippie. What if traditional and modern rulers are in an opposition aspect? Okay, so that's a longer conversation, but that would mean that the two rulers are trying to integrate and find balance, find a way to actually come together and complement each other. But opposition signs often initially feel like a tug of war at first. So you might find that the rulers of your chart could feel a little at odds, but once they learn to work together, they truly become, one unified, integrated field of energy. Yeah, oppositions are very interesting. Push and pull. I mean, are we working together or are we push and pull?
This is something that's interesting that Sandy's saying, because we talked about this with like you and Alexys, but that they are both Venus, her youngest daughter and her. But that can mean that it still shows up for you different.
Oh my gosh, yes.
With like two Venus doesn't mean that it's just going to be like you're the same or anything. So
well,
it's interesting.
Yeah, Sandy, that's a great point. So let's just say, someone's asking, Carrie Ann, this is good. You guys are smart to ask the questions this way because I wasn't going to read a whole list of all the rising signs and the planets. Not that you couldn't easily look it up. Leo is ruled by the sun. Leo's always ruled by the sun. So if you've got Leo rising, the sun rules your whole birth chart. So guess what that is, man? That is bright and radiant. That is glowing. Right. That is take up your full space. But Sandy, back to yours. So I Mars rules my chart because I'm Aries rising, but I'm a Cancer. Can you feel how that's gonna?
Yeah.
Even though I may be, I can be a little pointy.
Yeah.
On the inside, I'm pretty soft.
Right.
You could get me to tear up pretty quick if we get on a good emotional, subject or topic. But imagine if someone has a Mars ruled chart and they have, the majority of their planets in Sagittarius. That's going to feel very, very different, even though there's going to be similarities. And sometimes similarities, when our version of them is different, sometimes those are more grating on us than otherwise.
Well, also, in relationships with people, like you sort of mirror certain things of yourself or see reflections of yourself, and those can sometimes be the aspects that are like the hardest in people. Is like, oh, I do that thing too. That annoys me,
and I don't want to see it. So
yeah.
What else do we have here?
This is a good point. Do you want to tell them about the tarot time and what you do?
Oh, tarot time! I love tarot time. Yeah, well, not because it's with me, but because it's with you. We have class once a month, and that's with me and with Athena, and we co-teach that class. Then once a month we have tarot time, and that's where I come into our Facebook living room group. And I spend about an hour. Sometimes I overstay, but
as long as you want to be there.
Karen, as long as I can and want to be there. Yeah. Karen's there with me. Karen and I, we tag team Tarot time. It should be Tarot Karen time, I guess, when we really think about it. But Karen collects questions after class, and those questions come to me, and I answer them. Well, I type them out, so you have answers that way. But then I also come live, and I go through them. And then if we have time, sometimes I bring little handouts or little tips, or we go through little correspondences. Basically, it's just time for us to spend together, and that I can answer questions in a more detailed way than we can in class time. Yeah. Let's see. Right. Anything else, Jared, that we missed?
I know. I was like, things are like rolling in. Dates for class. Class is going to be June 7th. Do we have the date for tarot time in June?
I think it's around the 22nd. Check around there. 22nd or 23rd. We're looking.
I also might just not have it on this calendar.
Oh, yeah, it might only
we're
be on
looking
my
at.
calendar. If Karen's here, can you pop in, Karen, and let us know when Terra Time's going to be for June? I thought it was the 20-something, but I don't have my calendar in front of me. Yeah.
Let's see. I was like, well,
Yeah, I'm looking to
waiting
see if
for
there's any
that,
other
there's anything to
questions.
talk about. Both Neptune and
Sandy,
Jupiter,
thank you. I
Pisces.
love Terra Time. I mean, my personal style, like if I had my way, we'd all be sitting together and we'd be looking at our charts together and we'd be talking about what's in the sky and yeah.
Okay, the 22nd is going to
Okay.
be Terra Time.
June
Put these on your
22nd.
calendar, the 7th, the
Yeah.
22nd. If you need any help with the renewal for your membership or signing up anything, support and Facebook teams are there for you. What were you going to say?
Well, we didn't bring up, so I think, I mean, not everyone is into the worksheets, but every month I create worksheets, and like this time it's like, how many pages is the worksheet? 12 pages. It's a long worksheet. So if you are new to the topics and if you are willing to do the worksheet, it will take you through. There's information, you fill out your part, you learn what it is. So it takes you step by step, right? In this case, what is a chart ruler? How do I determine mine? What if mine is in this sign? What if mine is in this house? So we do have those tools to really help you walk through it.
Right. And then, I mean, those are amazing to like get yourself a folder. I know we have a Living Magic folder that might still be in stock. You can check on sagegoddess.com, but I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it's like same thing as like if you've ever like kept a college textbook or something, but like you're actually going to go back and read these because like as you get to the next step, it's nice to go back to an old worksheet, reference information, or even see the things that you wrote down. I always find notes that I take in past classes and things really interesting. So yeah, those are great. We have an astrology meeting to actually get to.
Can we answer one more question?
We can answer another question.
Here's me running
It's
on.
us.
Desiree Pisces rising, and she's heard that both Neptune and Jupiter rule Pisces. Yes, so this is an example of when we discovered, they were there, but when we discovered the outer planets, meaning Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, modern astrologers gave them some rulership associations. So Pisces is one of those signs. Traditionally, Pisces is ruled by Jupiter. That's the traditional ruler. The modern ruler is Neptune. So the way I work with rulers is I work with both the traditional and the modern when they apply, and that's only to the three signs that those apply to. Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
Making sure we didn't miss anything.
Yeah, I'm double checking too.
Fellow Sagittarius rising, Jupiter ruler.
Woohoo! Go Jupiter. Well, Jupiter was our topic for May.
Yeah.
So we like if by the way, if you've just now realized that Jupiter rules your whole birth chart and you were here in May, get back out your Jupiter worksheet because that's all about you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We have some studying to do.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we will see you guys soon. I know that we have class today. If you're currently with us, there's going to be sound healing class today. And then there's a full moon on Friday. A full moon on Saturday.
Yeah, but
with an event on Friday.
Yeah, our event's on Friday, but the full moon itself will be on Saturday.
So we'll be seeing you guys some more.
Yeah.